I'm out here on Memorial Day afternoon checking on some rice, making sure everything's running. Seems like that's most of what rice farming is cutting water on and just making sure it's running all the time. But everything's running, everything's looking good. The rice looks good. It's done a lot of drying today. It's gotten kind of hot, and this stuff's watering a lot quicker than I thought it would, but that rain's got the ground so saturated that I guess it just doesn't take much. But we're pleased with the way it looks. Blake's checking on some rice in another location, mostly row rice, and making sure it's all running right. And we're just kind of tidying things up, trying to get it all regulated like we want it, and it's going pretty well. But as I was sitting out here making sure this water made it to the end, I was reading a little scripture again, and in Proverbs 16, chapter 16, verse 3, it says, "Commit your actions to the Lord and your plans will succeed." And a lot of farmers in our county right now are just trying to get through planting and get their levees pulled and stuff, and we were in the same boat, and we just happened to miss a rain that that everybody else got, and gave us a small window, that window situation again that God gives you to get these levees pulled. And we just are feeling really blessed right now to be in the position that we're in, to have all our levees pulled and all our crop planted. We got a good bit of rain last week, and all the beans seemed to, the smaller beans that we planted late on that new ground, seem to be okay. We may lose a few in a spot or two, but it's not bad. And things just kind of looked a little dreary last week. It was a lot of rain. They're talking about hail, and we were worried, just a kind of a fearful last week of wondering what's fixing to happen, and all the time and effort that we put in, might have to redo some of it. But it seems to be okay, and we got all these levees pulled, like I say, and we just feel ahead right now. It's just one of those moments, you know, where you feel ahead. There's a lot of times you feel like you're behind, you're never gonna get stuff done, and we're in the state right now of feeling like we're ahead, and it's nice. So that scripture just kind of speaks to me right now about committing your actions to the Lord and your plans will succeed. And that's what we try to do, is commit our actions to God, and everything we do, we just kind of leave it up to Him and hope that it works out. And so far it has. It's just kind of a good feeling to know that God's on our side. Not to say that He's not on anybody else's side that's behind. It's just He's kind of granted us a window, and we don't commit everything to the Lord like we should. We have plenty of faults, don't get me wrong, and do things and cuss stuff till it starts working, and other ways that God's probably not pleased with us. But we try to do it with the best intentions, and we don't always succeed. But it just feels like God's shining down on us right now. And another scripture in Proverbs 16, verse, let me look at it real quick, verse 33, and I highlighted this one years ago, and it just kind of shows right now, with everybody in different states of farming and where they're at, of how much God is in control. It says, "We may throw the dice, but the Lord determines how they fall." And I think that is one of the best scriptures to describe farming. You make a lot of plans farming. You got a lot of ideas of how things are going to go, and how, you know, we're going to plant in 2 weeks. We're going to have everything planted and catch some showers here and there. We're going to get all the rice planted, all the levees pulled, and everything's going to go off in this certain amount of time, and we're going to get it done, and this is how it's all going to go. And that's almost never the case of how it goes. And it's just a prime example of the scripture saying, we may throw the dice, but the Lord determines how they fall. We, as farmers, we come out here and we roll the dice. We make a plan, and we throw it out there on the table, if you will, and hope that the dice come up the way you want them. And God always determines how they fall. And you know, this year hasn't looked exactly like we had hoped, and a lot of things have happened, last minute land and small windows to get everything done when we thought we'd be done sooner rather than later. And it's just a prime example of God's favor and His faith for you if you trust in Him and lean into Him in those times when the anxiety gets a little high, the fear starts showing up of, man, I don't know if we're gonna get this stuff done, and it gets real tight. And like we've been talking about, those tight windows, God has blessed us with them, and we threw out the dice and He determined how they fell, and so far they've fallen well. And that's not to say that next week I may not come on here with problems, because that's probably going to happen. But it goes back to, you know, God's favor and trusting in him. Put your plans, all your actions, do it for him, and he will bless you and help you succeed. And that's just a good feeling. I don't want to be prosperity Bible, because we all go through hardships and everything. Nothing goes the way that you plan most of the time, especially God's way. And that's just him telling you, hey, keep the faith. But I don't know, just thought I'd share that with y'all. I'm out here this afternoon checking on stuff, and just got done making sure the water made it to the end, had a little time. So just a little word of encouragement that you may make plans and you may throw the dice, but God determines how they fall. But if you commit your plans and your actions to him, he will make sure you succeed. That doesn't mean it's going to be success the way you think it's going to be, but it'll be God's success, and that's the best way to have it. So y'all keep that in mind in your daily lives and daily walk and on this Memorial Day.